Hey guys, Lancer here. Hope everyone's doing well. And today I want to cover some more of the worst reserve list cards. Let's get to it. So on the screen, I guess everyone can see that we have Alabrabra's carpet. Now, I really can't help see that I'm late to most of these, and you'll be able to see that as well. I tried to capture what I consider, and a lot of people consider, to be some of the worst cards in the reserve list. It makes no difference really. I would not want to invest in a card like this. If you were going to buy this card, I would say keep that money. See if you can buy something a bit more valuable that can actually hold its values. There's no point throwing $43 into this when you could just buy something a bit better for without having to feel like you're throwing money away. I'd feel like I was throwing money away. So Albrabra's Carpet is 5 artifact. Pay 5, tap, prevent all damage done to you by attacking non-flying creatures. There are cheaper ways to get this effect. It's an interesting art piece. The card looks goofy, it looks fun, but is it worth $43 at the market price right now? $50 at TCG? I don't think so. And I can't imagine a reason why it would be. Now, the last time it happened, to get to this kind of point, a lot of people sold out. For this to continue, it would have to rise to a new price and probably drop down to about 35 or $40 and then bounce back up. Like it'll have to follow the normal route of when people buy it, they hold on to it, especially if they think they're going to lose money. So cards like this, I don't think are worth investing in, especially if you have the money to invest in proper MTG cards. I understand some other ones are spiking even more than this, but a card like this is not going to be useful in a deck unless you're playing it for the goofy feeling, and I just don't know if that's worth it right now. Moving on, we have Asen's Highway. So Asen's Highway is 3 colorless, 3 white, enchantment, all white creatures gain Planeswalk. Now this one is actually still quite cheap, and here's the thing. It 100% makes it feel like all reserve lists were not noticed at the same time, or all reserve lists are not created equally. I mean, of course, that's the truth. But for this card to still be averaging around about 62 cents, which is on the reserve list, you can buy it for 20 cents on TCG. It is reserved list. What's the difference between this card and the carpet? I personally think they're both pretty bad. They're both terrible. Enchantment deck, maybe this is good enchantment. I don't know why you'd want it. Bit too specific, it's a bit too costly. But it's 20 cents compared to $43. Like, why wouldn't you go all in on this? Terrible advice, by the way. This is not investing advice. No. But this makes far more sense to invest in than the carpet, which is going to go just in as many decks. Continuing on. We got Salmians Legacy. Now this is also one that looks like it's trending up pretty fast. It's peaked to $2. You can get it for 67 cents on TCG Player. It says Salmian's Legacy is 1 red, 1 white enchantment. When Salmian's Legacy comes into play, bury all Djinns and Efrits. Whenever a Djinn or Efrit comes into play, bury it. Interesting art. 67 cents. Reserved list status. Terrible card. What's the difference? I mean, like, I don't know. I understand that the carpet can be used in probably more decks than this, but it's not worth it to put into most decks unless you're playing it for goofiness, and then you might as well add cards like this. Anyways, continuing on. Anabaz Ancestor. 1 colorless, 1 red. Summon Ghost. It's a 1/1. Tap, target Minotaur gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It is 47 cents, reserve list status. It is slowly climbing up. And I mean, we got Minotaur decks out there. This is pretty goofy. I mean, it's not as valuable as most other reserve list cards, but it's a reserved list card still, and people tell me that they have value. So why is this one sitting at 47 cents right now? Moving on, auspicious ancestor. Auspicious ancestor is 3 colorless, 1 white. Summon ancestor. If auspicious ancestor is put into the graveyard from play, gain 3 life. Okay. Pay 1, gain 1 life. Use this ability only when a white spell is successfully cast and only once for each such spell. It's a very costly enter the battlefield, gain 1 life card. It's 20 cents on TCG Player. It's reserved list. It's got no meaningful creature type, but at the same time, it feels not too bad. I mean, I'm going to have to start making a list of all these cards because there are some that are just cheap. It's like, what are you going to do with 70 cents? What are you going to do with 20 cents? Just chuck it at this reserve list cards and hope that there's only 100,000, maybe 200,000 of them around the world and just wait. Crazy, crazy times. Moving on. A vizio. So, a vizio, 3 colorless, 1 blue. Summon a vizio. Interesting. Flying, skip your next untapped phase. A vizio gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Use this ability only once each turn. This could be interesting, especially with that skip a turn card that's come out recently, but I don't know how you'll be able to use it. It's 3 and a blue for a 2/2 flyer most of the time. Is it good? Nope. Is it worth 25 cents? Funnily enough, I actually think it might be. It's a reserve list status. It's not going to be printed again. It's a terrible card. Why would they print it anyways? Anyways, moving on. Aegis of the Meek. 3 colorless. Artifact. Pay 1, tap. Target 1/1 creature gets +1/+2 until end of turn. Not the worst, actually. I mean, it's an artifact, which is helpful. And there's plenty of 1/1 creatures around, so not the worst. It's spiking now, recently, in the last couple of days. But it is still 25 cents on TCG Player, and it is reserved list. Where you can use it? I don't know. That's a tricky one. Alkor's Tomb. Probably saying that completely wrong. 4 colorless artifact. 2, tap, change the color of target permanent you control to a color of your choice. Use counters. Cost to cast. Tap, maintain, or use a specialty ability of the card remains unchanged. Okay. That's a confusing way to word it, but it pretty much means that nothing else changes except for the color. Sure. It's $22 on the market, spiking probably the near mint stuff to $43. $31 on TCG, so average. Reserve list, yes. Is it good? It doesn't feel like it. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it, but at the same time, it is a reserve list card, and as we've seen in the past, some of them are just more noticeable than others. Moving on. Marty's, or is it Matria of Corliss? 3 colors, 2 white. Summon Bodyguard. Unless Matriarchs of Koros is tapped, any damage done to you by artifacts is instead applied to Matriarchs of Koros. You may not take this damage yourself, though you may prevent it if possible. No more than 1 bodyguard of your choice can take damage for you in this manner each turn. Interesting. It's a 1/6 for 5 that can take damage from yourself and onto it. It feels terrible. It's spiked in the past. It's sat around about $3 to $5 range, and in the last month, it has from January 18th. Something happened January 18th. You tell me what happened. January 18th, and it's probably Elon's tweet or something. It's jumped up to 30 and is now drifting slowly down as the market tries to catch up. $12 on TCG Player. It feels absolutely terrible. The only time it'll be useful is if you know if you're playing against an artifact deck. Or pretty much all of the decks that you're playing against are artifacts. So feels pretty bad for $28. I don't know how many decks it's going to be useful in, but it's worth a hell of a lot more than some of these other ones. Sorry for my language. Moving on. Mightstone. Mightstone, 4 colorless. Continuous artifact. Interesting. All attacking creatures gain +1/+0. This is actually interesting. It's 4, costs way too much. There's way better anthems nowadays that even can boost your defense up. But it is pretty good. But is it worth... Actually, the market price only says $8.40, so $13 on TCG Player. But I bet the near mints and stuff are selling for the price that its average is sitting at. So 34, the average seems broken, but $35. And reserve list. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna leave it at that for this video. I feel like I like making these videos. I don't know what the value of it is. Like, I don't know if people are then gonna go and pick up the 70 cents, 20 cents reserve list cards. But I can't tell the difference between the really bad ones, the really, really bad ones, and the money that they're being paid to buy them out. So I feel like either I'm missing something, or why is one terrible reserve list card worth 20 cents while another one isn't? I mean, I understand that some of them might be different sets, and that makes sense, but the sets still don't get rid of the reserve list status, and some of them are just so much cheaper than you would expect. Anyways, I'm going to leave that leave it at that, guys. Like and subscribe if you think this is valuable, and have a good one. Thanks. See ya.